Hi everybody, I've just received in the post 5 of the brand new Hourglass Liquid Unreal Blush, and I will be comparing these today with the Rare Beauty, the Armani and the Huda, and I will also be trying every single one of these on so you can see how these look, but I will swatch them against the others so you can see if you might already have these in your collection. So I cannot wait to get started, and if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm not a professional, just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I like to show you reviews of new products, some of my favourite things, and any news that I think might interest you. So if you think you'd enjoy this sort of content, I would love it so much if you liked and subscribed. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for returning. So I've picked up 5 of these shades. The 2 I didn't pick up were the 2 deepest shades. So I'll put a picture up now so you can see all of these shades. And you see the very 2 deepest I didn't pick up for obvious reasons. With my skin tone, it's not likely to work. So I've got some price comparisons here for you. So this is £38. You get 10.3 millilitres and it comes in 6 shades. The Armani one is £36, so £2 cheaper, but you get 12 millilitres, so nearly 2 millilitres more with the Armani. The Huda is £24, but you only get 4.5 millilitres. So in theory, the Huda is actually the most expensive, because if you wanted to bring it up to the same amount, it would be about £60 actually. That's a very quick estimate. My maths is not on point there. And Rare Beauty, £22, 7.5 millilitres. So Rare Beauty is the cheapest out of all of these, but you are only getting 7.5 mils. But anyone who's got the Rare Beauty knows you need the tiniest little dab. So it's probably the best value out of all of the liquid blushes I'm looking at today. Unless the Hourglass one is as powerful as the Rare Beauty. But anyway, I don't think it will be from the description. So it's described as a liquid blush that visibly plumps with hydration and delivers unreal buildable colour for a natural finish that stays in place for up to 12 hours. It's infused with the Unreal Lifting Complex. This is a serum-like formula which instantly hydrates to plump and visibly firm for smoother looking skin all day. Upon application, the silky texture effortlessly melts into your skin to instantly lift your cheeks with colour, providing all-day weightless wear. And the innovative packaging features a precision dropper that allows you to customise your desired look from a soft wash of colour or a vibrant flush. It's also non-comedogenic, vegan and cruelty-free. And the Unreal Lifting Complex it describes is made from an upcycled white lupin seed extract which visibly firms skin for a smooth look, and contains hyaluronic acid which helps to attract water to plump the skin with hydration. So those are the key ingredients, and as we're seeing in so much makeup at the moment, it is infused with skincare loving ingredients, which for me, for my mature skin, I am finding really, really good. I always seem to prefer on the finish on my skin when it has skincare in, so I'm very pleased about that. The first thing I'd say about this, I don't know why, but I expected it to be a lot bigger. I couldn't believe how tiny this is, because I've got the Danessa Myrex serum, which you use. Honestly, the packaging, you'll see what I mean now. I had in my head it would be the same because it looked like the same sort of packaging. I don't know why, I just thought it would be a bigger one. But anyway, it looks tiny. But isn't the packaging so similar? Because we have here underneath the black pump under there. So it is a bit of a copy in a way, the packaging for Danessa Myrex, I think. Anyway, so I haven't tried this yet, but I know how to use the Danessa Myrex. So let's open one just to have a look. So here's the dropper. So if I show you the Danessa Myrex, what I meant there, look how similar. Exactly the same style. So I've opened it and there's a little bit leaking out already, so keep that in mind. It shouldn't, in theory, just fall out. No, so it's probably just because it's just been opened. Actually, the dropper is coming out again without me having pressed the bottom. So that's something to be a bit aware of. But anyway, with these here, if you haven't tried them before, you just push. So you push the dropper and see how it comes straight out. So a tiny drop would be 1 tap, I think. Yeah, 1 drop, and then you push more and you'll get a bigger amount. So this shade I'm showing you right now is called Moment. So it gives you an idea of how liquidy this is. So it's not pouring down my hand. And this is a very strong colour actually for me. So that is way too much, but I was just trying to show you the formula. So this is Moment. That looks super pigmented actually. So the only Rare Beauty I have in this sort of shade, it's not an exact match, is Virtue. So I've just put that on my hand. So this is Virtue. So they are slightly similar. But to give you a better idea of how they look blended out, they actually are quite similar, aren't they? So here's the Rare Beauty and here is the Hourglass. So when you take a little bit and blend it, they are actually very similar shades. So I think they are a match actually. So that's Virtue from Rare Beauty and that's Moment from Hourglass. So I'm not sure if you're supposed to dot this straight onto your cheek or if you're supposed to put it on your hand, but going from the way it drops, I wouldn't really go straight on because it could just fall down your face and straight onto your clothes. So I personally think the best way to use this will be to put one drop just to test it. So just one onto the back of your hands. I've cleaned my hand off. So that is just one now. So I'm going to go in with my BK Beauty 109 and pat that into the back of my hand and then apply here. That is pretty pigmented, that one drop. Now bear in mind these shades are deep. These are the deepest I thought I would get away with. That is a really nice shade actually. I'm wearing the Natasha Denona Golden palette today and I think that this is a lovely match with it actually. So this is going on really nicely. That's got a beautiful glowy natural finish. Reminds me of the Armani straight away because the Armani one, the cheek tint, which is probably my favourite liquid cheek product I've tried this year, immediately gives you that natural, glowy, radiant, not wet look, but it just looks so natural and so pretty and it's so easy to use. So it's reminding me a lot of that. So if you're a fan of the Armani cheek tint, I think, going from my very first impression, you're going to love this. So obviously now I've blended it out, it's nowhere near as pigmented, so I will take a little bit more on the back of my hand. So I'm going for a second drop. Now something that would probably be quite good fun with this would be to mix it in with other products, such as a glowy liquid highlighter. If you've got any liquid highlighters, you could create for yourself a highlight slash blush all in one, and I think these would be really nice for that. Yeah, I think 2 drops for my skin tone is perfect if I want to build it up this much, that is, and I'm not sure if I would, but anyway, that's enough. I wouldn't go any higher than that. So just go around the edges to neaten that up. I haven't got any bronzer on. I'm going to put bronzer on for my final look so you can see how that looks at the very end. But at the moment, this is all I've got on my cheeks. So this is apart from foundation. So you are just seeing the blush. So that is 2 drops built up of Moment. So if you're a deeper skin tone, you could definitely build this up more. I have a little bit left on my hand I could still use here. So I think whether you're my skin tone or deeper, this is going to work well for you. Definitely is buildable. It's not feeling sticky actually at all, which is great, which means hopefully as it dries down more it won't feel sticky in the slightest. So I don't think this is one that's going to desperately need to be powdered down. So if you want to keep this shine and keep this sort of slightly wet natural look, I say wet, I think that doesn't sound very complimentary, but you know what I mean. It's a very beautifully natural finish. And some people might not want that much shine, but if you like that much shine, I think you could just wear this because it's definitely not feeling sticky, which is fab. So the next one I'm going to show you is also the deeper shade I got, and this one's called Future. And Future is a warm coral. Moment, by the way, is a warm peach beige. I should have said that when I tried it on. So that's the warm peach beige. And now we're going to try on the warm coral. So the only one in my collection I think might match this is Joy from Rare Beauty. So I'm going to compare the two. Here is Hourglass Future and here is Joy from Rare Beauty. They are looking quite similar. You can see with the Hourglass it's definitely more of a watery texture, but it doesn't run. But it is definitely a lot lighter. The Rare Beauty is more of a thick liquid. So there's Rare Beauty and there is Hourglass. And as I touch them, you can really feel that the Rare Beauty does feel like a thick cream and the Hourglass has that watery feel to it. I already prefer the way that the Hourglass applies because it is just easier to handle. With Rare Beauty, you can only, for me, certainly with my skin tone with Joy, I can only put one teeny dot here and work really quickly then to try to stop it looking crazy, whereas this one seems to work in really nicely. So when we said, is Rare Beauty still the best value for money? It definitely is, because you probably need a quarter of the amount, because it just doesn't blend down into this sort of sheer finish that you get with Hourglass. So I've wiped my 109 brush off. What I'm going to do now is I've kept it on the back of my hand, seeing as I had a more reasonable amount. So I'm going to show you, if I dot it, like we do with so many of these things, how this would apply. So that's 3 dots, but that is just 1 drop on the back of my hand. And now I'm going to blend this one in using my 109. And see straight away how sheer that is. If it was Joy and I did 3 dots of it, I'd be in big trouble by now. Not that I don't like the Rare Beauty ones, I do, but I do actually prefer using ones where I don't need to panic quite so much. In other words, I like buildable blush, so maybe you prefer the Rare Beauty finish, in which case you may not like this one quite so much because it has got that really sort of sheer luminous finish. If I now go in with 3 more dots, again still taken from that 1 drop that came out the bottle. I think doing it this way I'm actually using a lot less because I went in for 2 drops here. So dotting it on like that and building it up from the back of my hand actually makes me use less product. So as this is quite a pricey product, that's the way I would recommend doing it. Just the 1 drop on the back of your hand and then dabbing it on. That is a really beautiful peachy coral actually. Perfect for the summer. And buildable, as you can see. Good, I don't want to go much more now because it's getting way too deep for my skin tone, but just to show you how buildable this is. Buildable but manageable. And I've still got this much left on the back of my hand, so I'm pretty convinced that 1 drop of this on my skin tone would easily work for both sides of the face. So that is how I would apply these strong colours on fair skin anyway. If you've got deeper skin, you may want to double up. But that does show that this will last quite a long time because you do not need a lot to achieve that level of colour, which for me is the right level of colour, but obviously you can keep going and really build it up. You've only got to look at the back of my hand when I blend this out to see just how deep you can take this if you wanted to. So there's Future and Moment. Both beautiful and very usable on fair skin and perfect for summer, going very nicely with this sort of bronze look. So definite winners and ones I'll definitely be using this summer. So I've wiped that off, and next I'm going in with Vision, which is described as a true rose. And the Rare Beauty I have, which I think might be closest to this, is Worth. So here is Vision and here is Worth. And here they are slightly rubbed in. So this one is Worth and this one is Vision. So Vision is definitely deeper than Worth. I'm going to compare it also to the Armani in the shade 62. This is the darker pink in this line. And I've got the Huda in Strawberry Cream. So there's no real similarities here because these are just very different shades. This one here is the Armani and this one here is the Huda. Rubbed out, there's the Armani and there is the Huda in Strawberry Cream. Probably not a million miles away from this, but it's definitely not as deep, and it does seem to be a very rich rose. Very rich actually. So I've just kept the Hourglass on my hand, and like I did with the first application, now I'm going to dot this on 3 times. Now this does look super pigmented, so I'm not sure if I'd want much more than that. I've cleaned off my 109 again, and let's just blend this in. But going by the previous ones, look how quickly that just melted into the skin and just really dilutes, doesn't it, as it meets with the foundation. Just blends straight in, so it's just nowhere near, like the Rare Beauty was lighter, but again it would just pack that much more of a punch. If I put a few more dots of this, that's my second layer taken from that 1 pump. And again, like with the other shades I've tried so far, I don't think I need to go any more than that. So I've used less than half a pump on one cheek here. So if I take a little bit more just to build it up a tiny bit, Again, this is really just to show you I wouldn't build this up anymore for myself. Now I don't think this colour suits me. I think it's too warm and too deep for my skin tone. I can calm it down, so I think I can use this on my fair skin if I just go for that very first layer, which looked fine, but I think it's getting a little bit too deep for me now. So this is definitely going to work well for people who have slightly more warm skin. I've got a more neutral / cool undertone. I don't think this colour is working brilliantly on me. Also, if you've got deeper skin, it's going to be very good because you can really build it up. Look how much I've got left on my hand right now. So, okay, I'll just show you again as soon as it's there. But certainly if you're fair skinned and you've got more of a warm undertone than I have, this could work very well for you, and you will not need much at all. So there it is built up. I can't say I'm a fan of this shade though. Anyway, let's try the next one. So next I'm going to try Scene, which is described as a soft, warm pink. And I'll compare this one to Hope from Rare Beauty. So here is Scene and here is Hope. And they are quite similar. So here is Scene and here is Hope. I think that Scene is slightly warmer than Hope. Less of a sort of rosy pink. They're not massively different. And I'm going to compare these to exactly the same ones I used with the last one. So this one is the Armani in the deeper shade, number 62, and this one is the Huda, the Strawberry Cream. So here is the Armani and here is the Huda in Strawberry Cream. So again, it's not as close a match, so I haven't really got any good matches apart from the Rare Beauty, which is quite a close match. So again, dotting it from the back of my hand straight onto my cheeks and using a cleaned 109 brush, tapping this in. And straight away I think this shade is much better for me than this one. That's a lovely shade actually. This is a warm shade, but it certainly suits my skin tone a lot better, I think. Again, blended out beautifully. Now for me personally, that's exactly where I'd like to leave it, because I love the sort of natural, not overly bright blush, and I think that is a very natural finish. It's a very natural colour on me. It's that very natural flush that you get from being in the sun or just from being warm or from exercising. I love that. I will add some more, but as I said, I probably wouldn't want to unless I was going to powder on it. If I was going to add powder, which would definitely take down the colour, which I will do for my final look. I'll show you how these look powdered down with my last one. But if I wasn't going to powder, I wouldn't be adding any more. So I've taken quite a lot more now. That's how much left on my hand. I've rubbed it in. So I've used nearly a full pump on this side because this colour is just not overly pigmented and I can build up quite a bit of it. But again, I wouldn't unless I was powdering. So there we have Scene on this side, which I really do love. And then we have Vision on this side, which I don't think suits me at all. But it may well suit you if you've got the right sort of skin tone. And if you've got deeper skin tone to me, a darker skin tone, because I am very fair and I just don't think it works on me. But again, beautiful finish. And now this is the last one. This one's called Whim, and this is a bright pink. And I'm comparing this to the Rare Beauty in Happy. There is the Hourglass Whim, and there is Rare Beauty in Happy. So here is Whim, and here is Happy. They look extremely similar, don't they? So the only difference for me is going to be the formula again. So Rare Beauty, you just probably need the tiniest little dab of this to achieve the colour you want, whereas the Hourglass will blend out and become much more sheer. And I'm going to compare this to the new Hot Pink from Armani. This is shade 53. Now this, I already know this is going to be different, but the name suggests this is Hot Pink, and the one we're trying on today is described as a bright pink. So extremely different to bright pink, hot pink. So there's the Armani Hot Pink, which is actually my favourite out of all of the Armanis. I love it on my skin tone. So what I can say from all of the ones I've picked up from Hourglass is they don't have these sort of really cool shades that I love, because even this one is very warm. They are all very warm, all of them. And I haven't tried the two deepest and they look very warm. So this is a very warm release. And I've also got the Huda Cotton Candy, again extremely different, so these are all different. So you certainly don't have this one in your collection, the new Hourglass, if you've picked up the new Armani or Huda, if you've picked up these shades anyway, Cotton Candy, or if you've picked up the Hot Pink from Armani. But if you have Happy from Rare Beauty, you pretty much have this, it just won't be as sheer. I'm quite hopeful this one will work on me though, because I love Rare Beauty Happy. I love it in the new powder and I love it in the liquid. So this is going to go on both sides because it's my final look and the fifth one and last one that I've bought. So I'm going to put a few dots on both sides and use my cleaned off Rare Beauty 109 brush from BK Beauty. It's funny how as I blend this out it becomes a bit more like the Armani that I love because of the way it blends out. But look at my hand if you were just swatching in store thinking what this might look like, and now look at it when it blends into, bear in mind when you've got foundation it will blend into that. So obviously I haven't powdered down, I am going to test that out at the end though. So this is how it's going on to not powdered surface onto foundation. It really does blend out and sheer out. I'm picking up on the tiniest of scents from this, a bit like a sort of slightly perfumey scent. It's really mild, pleasant but very mild. Something you need to think about if that might irritate your skin. So that's how it's looking on both sides. I've still got all of this left on the back of my hand from that one pump. And for me personally, this is me done. But I am going to powder it. So I'm going to go in with a bit more. This I'd say is my second favourite. I loved the coral. I think that's my number one. But I think this one, I might like this one as much actually. This is probably more suited to me than the coral as well when it comes to a true match for my skin tone. It's giving me a lovely natural finish. I'm also going to take a little dab across the nose, seeing as I'm going to be leaving this look on. It looks nice on the nose, very natural. I really like this, you know, super easy to use, super natural, beautiful and buildable if you want to take it up. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this shade for every skin tone. It might not show up on you if you've got deeper skin. I don't know how well this would work for you. But certainly for fair to medium, I think this one works very well. So I've used about, I'd say, just over half of that drop on both sides. And I'm now going to powder it. I'll use my Givenchy Prisme Libre in shade 3, as I very usually do. My most trusted powder, so I think it's the best one for me to use. So you can see how this looks powdered down, and then at the end I'm going to put it on top of the powder so we can see how well this liquid blush performs on top of powder. So here it is powdered down. See how instantly that's taken all the shine off. So this is the difference between it powdered down. You can see the colour has definitely gone down as well, which is why I said earlier, if you're going to powder down and you're not going to put anything else on top of the powder, I would recommend going in a lot more heavily because it really does take it down, look. Shine gone and the colour is muted. So now with what's left on my hand, I think what I'll do is I'll just rub the brush into it to see what I get from that. Take it on top to see how that goes on top of powder. Straight away you can see how differently it applies on top of powder. It doesn't immediately sink in and get absorbed into the foundation, and it's also not quite as diluted. So this shows how you get a very different finish and an awful lot more pigment when you apply it this way. So those deeper shades I tried on at the beginning would definitely be too much for me applied this way, but this lighter shade with a very small amount on the brush really, left over from that one drop, so different, so very, very different, but it's worked very well. It has sat very well on top of the powder. You can see the finish is different as well. It's just not as shiny when it's on top of the powder, which would make sense, but you still get a shine. I think that's actually the perfect level of shine for me. So that's telling me that's exactly the way I'll be wearing this. Instead of using it under powder, I'm going to be using it on top. That's exactly what I found recently with the House Lab blush sticks. That's not a liquid, those are cream blush sticks, but I hated those underneath powder, loved them on top of. So it's always worth trying out those two different ways of application to see which one works best for you. And for me, this is the finish I like. Obviously you might like that really glowy, very luminous, juicy look that you get from it. It definitely takes that away going on top of powder, but you get more pigment. So I just put not even a proper drop, more of a drip onto the back of my hand, so I could do the same on this side. And that pigment really is coming up. So I wouldn't say you'll get the same pigment you get from Rare Beauty, but on top of powder you really do get a lot of pigment. I am going to just take my puff around the edges just to make it look a little bit more smooth, but I'm not going to go over the section that I've just applied, just the edges. So there is my final look using Whim, and obviously this is a very different final look because of that powder layer. So we've got Whim, powder, Whim, and I think this is the best finish out of all the ones I've tried. This doesn't make this my favourite colour necessarily, because this finish, it's the finish, it's using it with the powder. I personally love it like this, I really do. It's quite glowy, and I don't feel like I need necessarily a highlight, because I am getting quite a bit of sort of natural highlight coming off the way that this gives that sort of natural glow. So you could go without highlighter with this, depending on how much you like highlighter really, but it really is a fantastic natural finish blush. I really do love these. These and Armani are my winners of the year so far when it comes to liquid blush, I think. Obviously I've just tested this, but it is I don't see me changing my mind. It's applied beautifully. You'd expect nothing less really from Hourglass, would you? So very, very happy. There's just that one shade Vision, how is it described? A True Rose, that's right, that I don't think worked very well with my skin tone, but every other one I've tried out of the 5 I think has worked very well with my skin tone. So I think they'll work with lots of people because of the ability to build up. And as you've seen, if you put it on top of powder, you're going to get more of a punch from it. So I think that these will suit everybody. You'll definitely be able to find a shade. You might already have them in your collection, which you might have seen today, but it is a beautiful formula. I wouldn't say it's totally unique because it does remind me a lot of Armani. So if I was you, I'd go for either or, but they do have different shades to the Armani. So there's a good chance your favorite shade here is not in the Armani collection, so that would be my recommendation, unless it's a close match. If you're a fan of that formula, absolutely love them, really, really happy. And it would also be well worth trying using the Hourglass powder blush on top. If you just did the liquid and then set with the powder on top, that could be another thing you could try, because I'm sure these formulas will work very well together. And that could be something else to think about when you're matching up your colours. Just go for something slightly similar but not completely the same. That's how I like to do it. So I go with a deeper liquid and a lighter powder on top, and that's a beautiful way of having that sort of duo together. So if you've got Hourglass powder blushes, that could be something you could try too. Anyway, I've had great fun doing this. I just want to quickly mention, if anyone's wondering what's on my lips, which just happens to be a very perfect match for this blush, this is the new Fenty Glossy Bomb Sticks. I'm not going to go into any details, I'm afraid, because I will be reviewing them for you tomorrow. I just tried them on before I review them tomorrow, but I think it is a really good match, so I thought I would just mention it. But I have put a link below if you're too curious to wait till tomorrow to find out which shade I'm wearing. I will be releasing that one for you tomorrow though. I'll be doing that along with the new concealers from Danessa Myrex, and I've also got a new under eye corrector from Delilah Cosmetics, so I will be doing all of those together for tomorrow's video. But anyway, for today I have tried all of these 5 blushes and loved them, and I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of these blushes? Have you picked any up, or will you be picking any up? I would really, really love to hear. I am super impressed, as you can tell, and I would definitely pick up at least one if you're a fan of this sort of formula. So I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope to see all of you for my next video. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe, and if you already are, thank you so much for staying to the end and being subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all so very much, and I hope to see you all again for my next one. Take care everybody, bye.